Hello everyone, welcome back to Fat Fish YouTube channel, and welcome to Naoya, Naoya and Gojo's Ascension and Descension after their deaths by Fat Fish. This is about JJK. I assume some of you are familiar on it, so I'm not going to touch too many details. But just like I noticed when I was thinking about how I don't know how to pronounce this guy's fucking name, Naoya and Gojo died and how very similar they are. So first, let's get into the basics. Now, baseline ideas is the basic stuff you kind of have to understand and accept to understand the rest of what I'm going to talk about. So, on a base level, Naoya is Gojo and Maki is Toji. This is visible in a lot of things. First off, Naoya, I hate this guy's name. I'm sorry. It reads really good, but I can't pronounce it. Naoya is this. Now, we're calling him Now. Now is a pretty boy sorcerer with a very powerful curse technique that he inherited, he's very proud of, that makes him the golden boy of his clan in terms of strength, that is. Gojo is the same way. He is the pretty boy, golden boy of his clan who has the super strong technique he is very proud of. He has an ego problem, and they're silhouette-wise, these are pretty the same. Look at them. They're pretty similar. Obviously, there's differences between the character designs and how they behave, but both of them are that archetype. Meanwhile, Maki is Toji. Obviously, Maki has a heavenly restriction, and her whole arc is just becoming the best Toji LARPer. So that's pretty obvious. And even aesthetically, once Maki is fighting Naoya, now, we're calling him Now, once he fights Mr. Now, she definitely has that same aesthetic. And now, before somebody say, well, Toji or Maki's pretty, well, obviously it's not about how attractive they are, but it's about how they look. And you obviously can tell there's a very distinct archetype between how these two look and how Maki and Toji look. You'll see it in the following slides. So, we also have to see that Now and Gojo have their first fight with Toji / Maki in a very similar way. So, Now both of them fight a heavily restricted user. Both of them are arrogant and believe themselves untouchable. Both of them are able to put up a fight and could reasonably win, but because of their arrogance, they put themselves in a situation that ends up in their death. Or near death, in terms of Gojo. However, the big divergence is between how Gojo ascends and now we're calling him Mr. Zenin descends. Okay, so now that you have the baseline idea, let's move on to Gojo. So second, Gojo's Ascension. Gojo gains RCT, Reverse Curse Technique. Now, cursed energy is not like it is treated as a physical force with some physics-like properties, but in the end, all cursed energy is negative energy from bad emotions and fears. That's why cursed spirits are all evil, basically, because they're created from evil energy. And RCT is objectively good as a result of being the complete opposite of it. I mean, think about it. Even when used by sorcerers, cursed energy is used to destroy. Like, in its base form, it is a painful, damaging thing, while RCT is a healing thing. So he gains positive energy. He literally gets access to positive energy, which is a pretty heavy-handed metaphor, if you ask me. The thing is that this heavy-handed metaphor is annihilated by a building-sized gauntlet that is this scene where Gojo literally ascends to heavenly lights with heavenly music playing as he declares himself the honored one throughout heaven and earth, which is, I don't have to explain to you if you're looking at this chopped picture how this is pretty indicative of ascending, but yeah. Gojo also transcends the arrogance. Obviously, he's still a bit arrogant, but he respects Toji as a fighter, and he transcends the weakness that made him lose to Toji and overcomes him. Toji, as you can see here, if some of you might not notice, but this is what happens when you lose, and he's feeling very sad because Gojo beat him. So Gojo gets defeated, unlocks positive energy, comes back, ascends, and defeats Toji. So let's look at how Naoya, Mr. Zenin, is. This is a bit lighter on text, but I'll talk a bit more, so you'll all be good. So here's Maki, by the way, if you wanted to see, like, look at this guy's appearance, and this one. They obviously have a pretty similar clothing style, and, you know, both of them are kind of that tough archetype. Even if some Maki gooner in my comments are like, she's hot, bro, and it's like, okay, man, but she still looks pretty scary, and that's what I was trying to say with that point. Enough. Anyway, so Mr. Zenin becomes a cursed spirit, a demon. I'm not going to argue why cursed spirits are demons. just use your eyes and think for a moment when you look at this thing that I'm moving my cursor over, and tell me what you think that is. And if you read the JJK, yes, obviously they're not like demons from hell. It's not like there's a cursed spirit land or something, but they are very similar to demons in role in the story. And they are a being of pure cursed energy, which is pure negative energy. So he's the complete opposite of Gojo. He's pure negative energy rather than having positive energy. Naoya descends, as in both in his first death and his rebirth. In his first death, he literally falls down. I know it's not that good of one, but the second thing is that he dies to someone that he sees, and honestly, at this moment, is a dying worm with its throat cut out, which is Maki's mom. Sorry to Mrs. Zenin there, just that you kind of had a pretty pathetic end there, dragging yourself to the corpse. Anyway, he dies in a very pathetic way, rather than ascending like Gojo. And in his rebirth, he literally descends to hell, as in becoming a demon, basically. So he goes down rather than going up. So why doesn't Mr. Zen lose is because he keeps underestimating Maki and doesn't fix any of his problems. Yeah, he becomes like way stronger, and he could totally beat Maki, by the way, if he just wasn't like, arrogant like he always is. And in the end, he loses poetically because his curse technique thinks that she is literally an object, because Gege is not a subtle author if you think about it a bit. His curse technique sees her as an object, so it can't stop her from stabbing him in the back. And even as he's stabbed in the back, he's like, well, fuck you, I'm still not dead. And then, because he points out that fact, he gets cut in half, which is again to show his arrogance. Now, I forgot to make this a slide because I'm kind of stupid, but I thought of an idea of what it would look like if Mr. Zenin had a reverse technique. Now, I would have a slide for this, but I forgot to, and I already got really good footage of this first take, so I'm going to keep it up. But my idea was that since projection sorcery is running on frames, the only way you could reverse that is to have the frames go back 24 frames. Now, what this would mean was that he would basically have time reversal, since he could go back 24 frames, and I think that would honestly make him one of the most broken characters, because every time he loses, it's because he gets himself into a situation that he gets punished for his arrogance or over-aggressiveness. And if he just had a button that could let him reverse, literally reverse backwards out of the mistake, he would be very strong, which goes to show, again, that he could have had potential like Gojo, but, because of how he is, he fails. Let's move on to the final slide. It's a narwhal. It's a beautiful narwhal. Look at this nose. I think that they should make a whale cursed spirit. That would have been very cool. Look at this thing. Big ass brain. Good night, my friends. Thank you for attending. Oh, sorry. Fuck. I have more things to say. My apologies. What I am trying to say is that if you want to see more JJK videos, you should ask me, because I will make them. I will try my hardest. And if you don't like this video and you think I'm stupid, well, let me know too. I'll keep the comments. I'll talk to you in there. And make sure you actually do comment, because a lot of you DM me saying how nice the video is, and then you don't type in the comments, which I tell you specifically to do. But that's okay. Thank you guys, and have a great day.